where they are arresting people and ticketing people for street preaching in America. And folks, they're saying, because you were offensive. And the new offense is hurting someone's feelings. We have the Austin University of Texas Police, different than APD. You want to know what socialist policing is going to be like? This is it. Nobody ever arrested street preachers in this country, folks, not even the redcoats. But in America, they're doing it now. That's how far we've gone, folks. We're going under tyranny right now. Wicked, naked, bleeding tyranny.
Wherever we're from, whatever our background, whatever our religion, there are things we share together. We're all British. We respect democracy and the rule of law. We believe in freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of worship, equal rights regardless of race, sex, sexuality, or faith. We believe in respecting different faiths, but also expecting those faiths to support the British way of life. These are British values, and are underpinned by distinct British institutions. Our freedom comes from our parliamentary democracy. The rule of law exists because of our independent judiciary. This is the home that we're building together, whether you're Muslim, Hindu, Jewish, Christian, or Sikh. Whether you were born here or born abroad, we can all feel part of this country, and we must now all come together and stand up for our values with confidence and with pride.
It's not just unpalatable views. These are people who would be inciting hatred, who would be inciting the overthrow of democracy, who would be preaching the sort of extremist views that we believe can create the environment in which violence becomes something that others wish to do.
There's an important distinction here. We're talking about people who've not actually done anything. They just hold views or opinions which we regard as unacceptable. That is an enormous difference, isn't it?
But it's not just about somebody holding views, it is about people who are showing those views, who are using those views, inciting others. And I think it is important we have strong laws at the moment in relation to terrorist acts, but it is important if we are going to defeat the ideology that lies behind the terrorism that we see, if we're going to deal with extremists of all sorts in our society and uphold our British values, that we are able to take extra powers, I believe, to say that we do not think that people should be able to just preach hate on our streets.
We know from previous experience under Mrs. Thatcher we had the ban on the IRA appearing on the media, and that was deemed by and large to have backfired. It failed. Are you not in danger of making the same mistake by allowing the police to bar these extremists from appearing on the media?
No, I think everybody recognises that it is important that we do not allow people to preach extremism that incites others to go on to acts of violence, for example. It is important. Over time, the government has put strong laws in place in relation to terrorist acts. I think we now need to act in relation to extremism and those who are preaching hatred on our streets.
Yeah, anytime you got the black woman down here in Midtown Manhattan, she's totally out of order. Yeah, right. The best thing to do for her is to kill her fucking ass. That's right. All right? That's it. And you looking like this is a joke. We're going to kill you white people. We're going to be come looking for you white people. Ezekiel 94. You going down there?
Shit, mother effers, man. You gooks are gonna pay. You gooks are gonna pay. You go in the federal, but you know what, man? The hell with the goddamn. I'm glad you gooks is in the goddamn black neighborhood selling you Chinese.
And national peace. What do you think that means? That's talking about those camps. Because a lot of you are going to be arrested and put in those camps. You know why? Because they're going to say, the government's going to say that you're terrorists. After the next attack, they're going to be arresting you niggas and claiming that you're terrorists. And they're going to be torturing you in those internment camps. And don't tell me there's no internment camps, because we got documents all over America, every state. There's a part of that state dedicated to the building of internment camps. And they're going to get that chip, on the chip.
You guys know you're going into slavery, right? You know you're going into slavery? Are y'all American citizens? Okay, y'all know about the history of America then, right? going into slavery for enslaving so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right? That's what the Bible say, all right? So y'all can sit up here and listen. Y'all can take it as a joke, but guess what? All the atrocities that was done to our people is going to be done to you times 2, all right? When I do that, he would have just kept walking, man. And then when we saw him again, he gave respect and depth to all you crackers, man.
That's right.
That's right. Want to bash your fucking head, man. Right. Oh, they're young. Man, I want to take these babies and all you got fucking hate you devils, man. Worse, man. All you white people, so-called white people, be the devil, all right?
That's right.
Fat white bitches, the most size gonna put you on a damn workout plan, all right?
That's right.
You running from the judgment, all right? And all you so-called white people, you punk faggots, you going into slavery, all right? I'm gonna destroy you, man. Before you get any of that, in Revelation 19:10, and they think it's a joke, man. It's not gonna be a joke when we got a sword and it's going across your neck, man. You're gonna get tortured too, man. You're gonna get tortured, right? It's just a damn fact. And by the way,
Chapter 64, verse 1. Hear my voice, O God.
Hear my voice, O God. Read.
In my prayer.
And my prayers. Read.
Receive my life from fear of the enemy.
Like the enemy. This devil, the enemy, man. He's not on the enemy, man. Read.
Hear me from, it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
Right, hide him from the secret counsel of the wicked. Don't get worked up, boy, because this devil want us to hit him so we could be under federal charges for assaulting an officer. Don't get worked up. He's trying to work you up, but we know about you fucking devil, man. Now, read, hide me from what?
It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
So we know about you, the federal building right there, and it's one right there. So we know you agents come out. Ain't no cracks gonna come downtown North and be bombed like this, man. Ain't no devil gonna come in the middle of downtown North and be on the side of brothers like that. Look, back up from him. Back up from him. He's just trying to provoke brothers, man.
In the details of your proposals, you also suggest that people who argue for the abolition of democracy, who are anti-democratic, could face these powers too. But isn't the danger there? You could therefore end up in a situation where communists, anarchists, monarchists, people who are in no sense a threat to society could face the same sort of curves which are designed, presumably, for those much closer to terrorism.
What we are looking at is a situation where we believe we need to take powers necessary to be able to deal with those people who are preaching hatred on our streets. And that is an extremism which can lead others into violent acts. Of course, not all extremists are violent, and not all violence comes out of that extremism. But there is a link, there is a thread between this, and I believe that we need to be able to deal with that if we are going to be able to do the job we want to do, which is keeping people safe and secure.
One other element in your speech, you cited the situation here in Birmingham where there have been schools, where there have been the Trojan horse case most notably. You are suggesting tighter vetting of governors. How is that going to be done?
Well, that is something that the Department of Education is looking at and is going to bring proposals out for. I think everybody will recognise that what we saw happening here in Birmingham schools was a small number of people being able, through the power they were able to gain in a number of schools, to start moving those schools in a direction that the general population did not want, in terms of the sort of hardline attitude that was being taken in those schools. We do need to deal with that. What we all want is good schools where young people, girls and boys, can get the best education possible that secures their future.
Nero persecutes the Christians, 64 AD. This is coming from the eyewitnesstohistory.com. A generation after the death of Christ, which we know as Yahushua, Christianity had reached Rome in the form of an obscure offshoot of Judaism, popular among the city's poor and destitute. Now we know that this truth that we speak is not dealing with religion. It's not known as Christianity and it's not known as Judaism. So they're going off at this point. We teach the Bible as it is written. Members of this religious sect spoke of the coming of a new kingdom and a new king, just like we're doing now. Because what the apostles and the disciples back at that time prophesied about the kingdom of heaven, in which the Israelites, so-called Negroes and Latinos and Native Americans, will be ruling the other nations, and the new king is talking about Yahushua ruling. You know, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And Lord willing, we of the Lord's elect will be joint heirs, and we'll also be kings over these other nations. These views provoked suspicion among the Jewish authorities who rejected the group, and fear among the Roman authorities who perceived these sentiments as a threat to the empire. And that's also what they're doing in this present time. We're considered as a threat. That's why they're framing mischief by a law. That's why they want to get us off of the streets, and they have laws on the books to do so. In the summer of 64, Rome suffered a terrible fire that burned for 6 days and 7 nights, consuming almost 3/4 of the city, which is 75%. The people accused the Emperor Nero for the devastation, claiming he set the fire for his own amusement. In order to deflect these accusations and placate the people, Nero laid blame for the fire on the Christians. And that's what? Problem, reaction, solution. Order ab chaos. Trying to bring order out of chaos. You know, and this devil is fond of that tactic. And he did that recently, about 15 years ago, with 9/11. Here it is, they blew up the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers, but they blamed it on the Afghanistans. To what? Go over there and reap their natural resources. Also to what? Bring forth the Patriot Act. In the overview of the Patriot Act, the Campaign Committee of Unite for Peace, providing the following brief rundown on the potential impact of the act on freedoms. Freedom of association. Government may monitor religious and political institutions without suspecting criminal activity to assist terror investigations. Freedom of information. Government has closed once public immigration hearings, has secretly detained hundreds of people without charges, and has encouraged bureaucrats to resist public records requests. Freedom of speech. Government may prosecute librarians or keepers of any other records if they tell anyone that the government subpoenaed information related to terror investigations. Right to legal representation. Government may monitor federal prison jailhouse conversations between attorneys and clients and deny lawyers to U.S. citizens accused of crimes. Freedom from unreasonable searches. Government may search and seize papers and effects owned by citizens without probable cause to assist terror investigations. Right to a speedy and public trial. Government may jail anyone indefinitely without a trial, including U.S. citizens, also known as the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, which was passed in about 2012. Right to liberty. Anyone may be jailed without being charged or being able to confront witnesses against them. You know? But reading on, the emperor ordered the arrest of a few members of the sect who, under torture, accused others until the entire Christian populace was implicated and became fair game for retribution. You know? So that's the same thing that they're going to do in this present time. Once a false flag event happens on the soils of America, they're going to try to blame it on us if it be the Lord's will. They're going to try to blame it on the Hebrew Israelites, the men out there teaching about this destruction. Reading on, as many of the religious sect that could be found were rounded up and put to death in the most horrific manner for the amusement of the citizens of Rome. The ghastly way in which the victims were put to death aroused sympathy among many Romans, although most felt their execution justified. Therefore, to stop the rumor that he had set Rome on fire, Emperor Nero falsely charged with guilt and punished with the most fearful tortures the persons commonly called Christians. And we're ultimately known as the Christians because we're the anointed ones, who were generally hated for their enormities. And we're hated, brothers. It says Christus, in which we know as Yahushai, the founder of that name, was put to death as a criminal by Pontius Pilate, a procurator of Judea in the reign of Tiberius. But the pernicious superstition, repressed for a time, broke out yet again, not only through Judea, where the mischief originated, but through the city of Rome also, where the all things horrible and disgraceful flow from all quarters as to a common receptacle, and where they are encouraged. So just like this truth started, you know, on the east coast of the United States, you know, out there in New York, you know, this truth spread across the four corners of the earth. Now you got brothers out there in London, you got brothers out there in Holland, you got brothers out there in Jamaica. It's spread it. So now these devils feel as though that they have to do something about it. Accordingly, first those were arrested who confessed they were Christians. Next, on their information, a vast multitude were convicted, not so much on the charge of burning the city as of hating the human race. In their very deaths they were made the subjects of sport, for they were covered with the hides of wild beasts, and worried to death by dogs, or nailed to crosses, or set fire to. And when the day waned, burned to serve for the evening lights, Nero offered his own garden players for the spectacle, and exhibited a Circean game, indiscriminately mingling with the common people in the dress of a charioteer, or else standing in his chariot. For this cause a feeling of compassion arose towards the sufferers, through guilty and deserving of exemplary capital punishment, because they seemed not to be cut off for the public good, but were victims of the ferocity of one man. That's right. So what? We coming into the time of persecution. You know, the things that were done aforetime, you know, is going to happen in this present time. But it's not for us to get weary or scared. It's for us to take this information up and to get built up and pray to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai that he deliver us from this destruction. You know, the first scripture, 2nd Ezra chapter 7 verse 9. But then I'm gonna jump down. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? That's right. And the danger that is set before us is what? Brothers getting detained, brothers, if it be the Lord's will, brothers being put to death for this truth, or brothers living like a pilgrim on the earth. Jumping down, verse 14. If then they that live labor not to enter to these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. That's right. So we are the ones putting in the labor right now, us brothers in this truth, faithfully and sincerely. You know, we out there on the highways and byways pushing this work. Now, if we don't enter the straight and vain things, which is what? The martial law, the concentration camps, so on and so forth. If we don't go through that straight and narrow path, we're not going to be able to receive the kingdom. So we have to go through these things. Now, therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? So it's not for us to be worried about what's going on in the present, as far as these devils trying to roll upon us. We have to have our mind set upon the kingdom, which is to come. You know, and that's the faith. You know, that's the hope. Reading on. Then answered I and said, O Lord, that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish. That's right. So what? We're going to receive, you know, the kingdom. Because what? We're doing the things that is righteous in the eyesight of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which is exalting his name and teaching this truth 100%. You know? But the ungodly should perish. Reading on. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for the wide. So what? We're going to be faced in a position of difficulty, but we have the hope for the wide, which is the kingdom, and all the blessings that come with it. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide. That's right. So what? Because you got other people out there, you know, like Nate in the IUIC, Johanna in the ISUPK. You know, you also got this website, the splccenter.org, you know, in which they have certain groups that are on the terror list. You know, now these groups will be considered as the unrighteous. These groups will be considered as the unrighteous, and however they will not see the wide. You know, they're going to suffer the same straight things that we got to suffer, but they're not going to see the why. You know, majority of them is going to go into captivity and slavery. A lot of these militia groups, you know, and the black unconsciousness community, best believe you on that list as well, Because here it is, you know, that that nigga Polite was down with Nuwabian. He was talking about the Moors. Oh, a lot of you Nation of Islam niggas, you guys are on that list too. You have labored for naught. But you know, going back to Polite and that Nuwabian, you know, dealing with the Moors, you know, them guys are upon that list. You know, you on that watch list. You on that terror list. And this is Malachi Z. York, Polite's teacher. You know, you niggas are upon that watch list, man. But what? You niggas ain't gonna see the kingdom. You know? But jumping back, it says, let me read that again. It says, nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for the wide. But they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things and yet shall not see the wide. That why have y'all done wickedly? Because y'all didn't teach the truth, but y'all went against the truth. So the Lord is going to put you in the same situation, even worse. But what? You're not going to see the kingdom, man. You're going to have to be born again, those of you who are Israelites. The next scripture. Yea, and all, Salat, 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 12. Yea, and all that will live godly in Yahushua shall suffer persecution. But what's living godly in Yahushua? Let's find out. Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence. America is a great kingdom. China is a great kingdom. Russia is a great kingdom. Iran is a great kingdom. You know, and what? All of these kingdoms are going to go heads up in the Third World War. And this is what we ought to be teaching out there on the highways and byways, giving the people warning. Now, when you prophesy against something, what? You are an enemy of the state. You become an enemy combatant to the elites of this society. So when you're exposing the agenda of the elites of this society, the so-called elites, guess what? They're going to make war against you and persecute you, you know, to take you out the way so they can try to establish their agenda, which is the New World Order. You know, and we talk about the evil that they do as far as the chemtrails being put in the air, the GMO foods, the pestilence that they put out there, the Zika virus, the Ebola virus, the chikungunya, so on and so forth. Next verse, the prophet which prophesieth of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that the Lord hath truly sent him. That's right, and you people going to know that the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, has sent us, because all the destruction that we've talked about for years upon years is finally going to come to pass. Last scripture, Matthew chapter 10, verse 17. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. And ye shall be brought before governors and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. So what? We're going to be brought before governors and kings. They're going to detain us if it be the Lord's will. Those of us that get caught and rounded up, you know, by what? Exposing their agenda, by teaching the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Verse 19, but when they deliver you up, take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you at that same hour what ye shall speak. That's right, going back into what? Sirach, the 2nd chapter, how the Lord is going to increase you at that last end. So it's not for us to meditate on what we're going to do in that hour. Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to put the Spirit upon us to say the things in which we need to say to these devils, man. You know, rebuking this devil, telling this devil that he's going into slavery. The Lord can have you claim that devil, in which the devil who thinks he's going to put you to death, you claim him as a slave in the kingdom, and the Lord can have you exercise all types of spiritual powers upon his ass. You know, but reading on, it says, for it is not ye that speak, but the Spirit of your Father which speaketh in you. And the brothers shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. And as we see out there on the highways and byways, starting with our apostles and elders at Great Millstone, to the brothers putting up videos on the internet, and you see the comment board, how much hate brothers receive, it's clear as day that we are those men. It's clear as day that we are the true men of the Lord. It says, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. So what, we have to go through the season of persecution. We have to go through these we have to go through these trying times, you know, these destitute times, and for us to receive the kingdom, for us to receive the blessings, for us to receive the promises. Now, it's not for us to get weary, you know, as I said before, but we got to take this information, soak it in, for wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of that time. You know, so Lord willing, this lesson was edifying unto the elect. I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom, death to America.